the stage, Brenda Prince. So someone just recently told me I reminded them of a native Roseanne. Gee, I don't know why. So I am an urban indigenous person, and an urban indigenous person is an indigenous person that lives in the urban areas. I've never lived on the reserve, but this summer I went to my reserve and I found out that the term urban indigenous person translated to the Ojibwe language means your cousins on the res hate you. So I was born and raised in Winnipeg, and Winnipeg is another Ojibwe word that means muddy waters, I guess because natives really love the blues. And I was born in 1963, which isn't really that long ago if you're still alive. And back then, my dad really admired President John F. Kennedy. And in our house growing up, we had a picture of JFK and Jesus on the wall. And for the longest time, I thought that JFK and Jesus was the same white guy. I thought that JFK was just Jesus cleaned up and wearing a suit. Well, it's an honest mistake to make because all white people look the same, right? So back in the 70s, the bell would ring at 9 a.m. and we had to stand beside our desk and sing "O Canada," followed by "God Save the Queen." And then we got to sit at our desk for 5 minutes and listen to the teacher read from the Bible for 5 minutes. And the Bible reading was my favorite part because that's where I really learned stuff, like how to zone completely out, not listen to anything being said, which might explain why I thought that JFK and Jesus was the same white guy. So I hated being the only Native kid in school. I wanted to be invisible, but that was impossible. I felt like a raisin in a bowl of Rice Krispies, like brown and sweet, but doesn't really belong. And, I heard my first racist joke in grade 4. Alan, who I had a crush on, blonde hair, blue eyes. Well, at recess time, he told this horrible joke about why natives have high cheekbones. And after that, I never smiled again. And that's how I became a high fashion model. Like, who's smiling now? Alan. Facebook says that he's working at the Bank of Montreal, BMO, whose motto is, if you're brown, you're going downtown. So also, my dad used to read a lot of books about UFOs, and I really wish that like a spaceship would come and beam me up and change me into like a white person. I mean, can you imagine me as a white kid? I'd be like, "Hello, Mother, I'd like to take clarinet lessons." So, I was in Barcelona recently, and there were 30,000 Germans in town for a football game, and something about the German people is that they love indigenous people because of Winnetou, and Winnetou is like a fictionalized, romanticized Indian warrior character created by Karl May, a German writer, back in the 1930s. And every German kid rooted for Winnetou, "Ich bin Winnetou," and even Hitler was a fan. So you know what that means, right? Who loves me more than the average Canadian? Nazis. So, speaking of Germans, did you hear that Heinz came out with a new product? It's called Mayo Chup. It's half mayonnaise and half ketchup, Mayo Chup. But unfortunately for Heinz, in the Cree language, Mayo Chup translates to shit-faced. But it's all good, because when the Crees come home from the bar, Mayo Chup, and they fry up their bologna and bannock, they can use mayo chop. So Heinz has reported sales of mayo chop have increased in Cree country, which begs the question, how much mayo chop could a Cree mayo chop if a mayo chop Cree could chop mayo? So in more food news, a man was recently charged with assault for throwing a hamburger at his wife's head. And that's not the funny part. His wife's name was Patty. So Patty hit Patty. Okay, that was cheesy. That was almost double cheesy. And he actually didn't hit her in the head, he hit her between the buns. So no, seriously. So if you throw a hamburger at someone's head, that's assault. So like a food fight is considered assault. Well, enough about my mom. Okay, so I am a 59-year-old grandmother of 5 amazing grandchildren. And I'm the mother of 3 adult daughters who I guess they're meh. I'm just kidding. I love my 3 daughters, Raven, Robin, and Roadrunner. I'm just kidding. Her name is Dakota. And I couldn't think of another bird name. And swallow seemed kind of mean. And pterodactyl was too traditional. And I was going to do some dirty jokes, but my mom is here, and I don't want to get grounded. Like, you think it's embarrassing getting grounded when you're 16? Try getting grounded when you're 59. It really frustrates me. I'm like, geez, Mom, all the other comedians are doing it. Oh, this is so unfair. It's really frustrating, and there's lots of things that frustrate me, and I actually wrote a list. So here goes. Winnipeg winters and wet woolen mittens. Colonization by the Great Britons. People who balk when the fat lady sings. These are a few of my frustrating things. Really slow walkers and public canoodles. Canada stealing the whole kit and caboodle. Trudeau's fat lies and whatever he sings. These are a few of my frustrating things. Paying too much for extended eyelashes. Rubbing my eyes when police spray their gases. Really loud poems read by 30-somethings. These are a few of my frustrating things. When the CERB hits, when the phone rings, when I feel up to par, I simply forget these frustrating things, and then I head to the bar. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you know, alcoholism does run in my family, and I'm often stereotyped because of my heritage. I know if you can't tell by looking at me that I'm 1/23 and 2/3 Irish. And my great-great-great-grandmother was a white princess, so that makes me 1/64 racist. No, I'm just kidding. I love you all, so thank you.